welcome to Reaction Shots for June 2025. I'm joined, of course, by the beautiful Michael Huber.
Yo!
And the glorious
Is indeed.
Matthew Walden.
Hello.
Hello!
Vamp for a second, boys. I got to adjust a light.
Shout out to lights. Lighting. Lighting in cinema used to be the coolest freaking thing of all time. I feel like it's gone downhill. People just don't care as much.
Netflix makes lighting outside look terrible. I don't know how they've done that.
Yeah.
They crush all the blacks and make
It's
lighting
insane.
look garish and blown out and muted at the same time.
Yep.
How did they do it? Sorry, Netflix, hire me on your next project because I will help it look as good as you deserve, Netflix.
Seriously.
So really bad.
Yeah.
That light's not the color it's supposed to be, but we'll see. I'll deal with that later.
What would Kubrick have thought of Netflix and streaming?
Oh boy.
What a freaking hated it.
He would have known that's where the money's at, just
Yeah.
like Scorsese.
He would have gone Guillermo del Toro style and just like,
Gotta feed the monkey.
yeah. I know. I can't wait till Frankenstein comes out, so then Guillermo
Dude.
can like go make a movie in the theaters. Good God,
That Frankenstein series looks pretty cool, though.
it's a movie.
I thought it was a series of.
I think it's a movie.
Who's in that? Who's in that? In addition to Oscar Isaac?
Oh, it's a movie. No way. If it's a
It's a
series,
movie.
yeah, it's a movie. 100%. He's been working on that forever.
It's for Netflix, right?
Yep.
There's someone else in the cast who's cool, or a couple people, right? But all I know is Oscar Isaac right now
Yeah.
because I'm exhausted. But
Yeah.
like, there are other cool people in that.
I'm sure. Guillermo's crew. Where's Ron Perlman?
He's Frankenstein. Who's Frankenstein?
Frankenstein.
Who's Frankenstein's?
Frankenstein.
Who's Frankenstein's monster? I guess is what I mean to say, because
Yeah.
there's somebody pedantic out there.
Yeah.
We all know
We all know,
Frankenstein
we
is
all
the
know.
monster. We know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess it is a film. I don't know. That's weird. The trailer made me think it was a.
It's because it's Netflix
Series.
and everything's a TV show.
Yeah.
In the book, Frankenstein's a vegetarian. It's very cool. The monster is, and he has like a little monster girly,
Obsessed with-
monster girlfriend. Yeah,
Frankenstein and the Bride and Creature Commandos. 10 out of 10.
Dude, yeah.
10 out of 10.
He's just a stalker.
Just hunting her
Pest.
down through the ages.
Dirty pest. Anyway, yeah, this month we will be talking about this is kind of a highfalutin concept. This is a weird concept. I was talking with Sophia and Elise about the sort of vague idea, and like a few people have done videos about this where it's like, why is everything beige now? Like, why is technology boring now? Like
Lighting
Drew
sucks.
Gooden or whoever, and Curtis, I think, did one. And like a few people have done videos about kind of this idea. There's this picture that's been floating around of this McDonald's that looked like joyous and fun and colorful and had
Yeah.
animals all over it in the 90s. And then in the 2000s, it was, pretty standard. And then the 2020s, it's just a gray box.
Yeah.
And like, that feels kind of indicative of our entire lives. And like Elisa and I were talking about how, and like obviously this is an American perspective coming from some amount of privilege, like not having to worry about where your next meal is coming from. But like it kind of felt like, as millennials anyway, it felt like there was a period of time from like, I don't know, 1987-ish to, spitballing 2001 maybe, where everything, we could kind of trick ourselves into thinking everything was maybe kind of all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then since 9/11, everything has just kind of been fucked.
Way worse. Everything.
Like everything.
every single thing.
Like speaking from an American perspective, the constant threat of, which I think is propagandized, but like the constant threat of terrorist attacks or gun violence.
it's just other. There's so much fear of
yeah.
other.
And it's like, it's.
well, and our own government
And
attacking, ramping up its attacks on its own citizens. It was always there,
Yeah.
depending on which citizen you were, but they
Yeah.
came after all of us even harder.
Yeah, certainly things are hiding even less than they were before.
Yeah.
But all of that is the kind of the high concept pitch for did movies from this kind of rough period, 80s, 90s, whatever, were they more innocent? Were they more whimsical? Were they less cynical? Was there something going on? Because even the like serious Oscar bait, like whatever movies, like obviously there are exceptions to this. Obviously there are like, you know, pretty brutal movies from this period, obviously. But like even the like quote unquote serious movies like Shawshank Redemption or fucking Hellraiser, like are kind of cute. You know? Do you know what I mean? Am I crazy? I don't know. Anyway, things are trash. Happy 4th of July.
Love Shawshank.
Anyway, but before we get into all that,
it's a big theory. There's a lot to
this is an insane theory.
There's a lot to unpack there, as they say.
I also wrote this at 1 a.m. on June 27th when I was like, oh fuck, I forgot to write a prompt, and it's 1 a.m.
I have a lot of thoughts. I'm sure the listeners too.
I just know I've been rewatching
that,
a lot of old shit, and like
okay.
It's sad that every movie in the 90s has like some very uncomfortable jokes.
Oh, I mean,
every single fucking movie, fucking movie.
That's the shadow.
This aged well kind of concept.
That's kind of the shadow element of this, is that with that earnestness, with that naivete came a naivete. Like there's an obliviousness. There's an offensive quality to a lot of these things that are even like Bill and fucking Ted uses the F slur at one point.
So many.
Like all of those from the late 80s, like they were just whipping
90s.
that out. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's just, you know, so I'm not defending anything.
Of course.
All things in human history are bad and terrible. How about that? Blanket statement. Anyway, before we get into that, what have we watched lately? Matt, I feel like I don't always make you go first.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll kind of start off with a more heavy one and move into lighter things. I've been watching Deaf President Now. Have you heard of this one, Deaf President Now?
No.
So it's a documentary. And it's about the country's and maybe the world's first university for people who are deaf and hard of hearing. It was founded, I think, by Abraham Lincoln. Oh, wow. And so it's just kind of like this mecca for people who can use sign language and just not have to like, you know, work within the constraints of the rest of society who have a lot of limitations and access. And just the footage of this college is just very cool because everyone there seems so happy and they're not having to go through like hurdles to access things that they should but aren't normally given access to. It's very inspiring. But also the college university installs this president of the university who has all these fucked up views, who doesn't know sign language, who isn't deaf, and who looks down on them and is like, I can help you guys with your problems.
Person been chosen. That's insane.
Well, the board of directors had two candidates.
Shareholders.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking shareholders.
She's this stuck-up, like, British lady who looks like Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, boy.
And then they had two very qualified people who were, like, deans and professors who themselves were deaf, knew sign language, knew all the students' concerns, and the board of directors were like, fuck that. We'll take this like prim and proper British lady who kind of seems like she hates or looks down on deaf people.
Ick.
And so the students just revolted. Like, this is a documentary. This really happened. So the students just revolted, and like hundreds of them marched, locked down the university with chains, and were like, "Fuck this!" Like hounded the boards of directors at like fancy dinners and like hotels. They made it to like national news. You could see them like on Ted Koppel, and Ted Koppel's like, "Normally we don't put closed captions, but today we are, and we're gonna have an interpreter because we're interviewing some of these students." And then like it's pretty amazing.
Did this happen?
Like in the 88 or something that. And you just see
must be
and you just see the students like yelling at this British lady, like yelling in sign language. But it's just amazing. It's like, fuck you, we waited our whole lives for this to happen. We can't believe you're doing this to us.
sign like yell.
It's
I've seen
amazing.
people-
It's
I always love when we're watching like a show or whatever and they have an interpreter. I always love that because I always end up just watching them because the performance of it is so beautiful. I
Yeah.
think. Like, and
It's-
they get like when they put the like the feeling of the lyrics into the sign language, it's beautiful.
yeah, it's very cool. It's a cool documentary, and eventually, like, it became, you know, this national movement, not just for this university, but because people were so inspired by everyone sticking up together to fight back against like an oppressive system. People with disabilities who weren't deaf or hard of hearing themselves, who'd just been getting fucked over in their lives, were like, oh my God, you know, we don't have to be isolated.
Right.
We can actually come together and fight for our rights. And it eventually led to the American with Disabilities Act, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of. The National Act, where like, oh, you know, you have to have a ramp at this, you know, building entrance and shit like that, and you have to have like accessibility concerns for, you know, people at your workplace. You know, so it's pretty amazing. I've had a hard time watching it, to be honest, because like I'll get very emotional like every 10 or 15 minutes and have to like take a break. I don't talk about it that much on this show, but I have a pretty severe disability that makes my life hard to live. And so a lot of times I struggle in my life and feel like isolated with it. So seeing people fight together against an oppressive system is very inspiring. I know there are a lot of documentaries.
all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of documentaries where people do that, but this one hit a little closer to home for me. So highly recommend it. It just came out. Deaf President Now.
Yeah. It's a film.
Yeah, it's a documentary, like
Yeah.
film documentary. I will say there's one thing that kind of sucks about it. It does have flashing lights in it because they pull fire alarms to kind of like signal to each other because they don't really have like
Yeah.
telephones or way to yell. So in their dorm rooms, they like pull all these like fire alarms and then they reenact that with flashing lights. And I'm like, you know, if you're making an accessible movie, maybe you should have had that as a concern. But anyway, it's awesome. I recommend people check it out. It's a well done documentary.
Yeah.
What else did I watch? I watched Freaky Tales. Do you know that one?
I've
The
heard of it,
Pedro
but I haven't-
Pascal.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
like kind of it's a new movie that came out very recently. It's from the director of Captain Marvel, which I know people have mixed feelings on. Jerks don't like it for political reasons because it has, you know, it was like the first woman-led Marvel property, and then I know other
Self-forced
people. Yeah, and I know other people don't like it for, you know, like legitimate reasons, like it was bumpy or the special effects sucked. That's okay, but if you don't like it,
That's my critique.
yeah. But
Captain
anyway,
Marvel.
the director of Captain Marvel and Half Nelson kind of made like a Tarantino ripoff of but like it's set in Oakland and it's like in 5 chapters. It has Pedro Pascal in it as kind of like one of the lead characters, and it's about punk rock in Oakland and hip hop in Oakland, also set in the late 80s. It's fun, you know, it's passably fun. It's not amazing, but if you have any like love for the Bay Area or that time period or that storytelling, and you want to see some Nazis get beat up, I'd recommend it for for that purpose. You know, everybody loves Pedro Pascal. Like he's kind of like got this undeniable charm, and I was like,
And
yeah,
he seems
I'll
like
check
a
it out.
genuinely good dude.
Yeah.
Hopefully that never changes, but
Yeah. So him plus Nazis getting beat up. I was like, yeah, I'll check it out, and like, you'll be reasonably entertained for that reason. So I saw that. I watched Friendship, the new Tim Robinson movie.
How is that? That looks weird as hell.
I mean, if you like, I Think You Should Leave or Detroiters, I can't imagine a universe where you won't like this also. It is like if you took one of those characters and put them kind of in a real situation for an entire movie. So it's not like a skit, but it is like you took one of the characters from a skit and just played it out in the real world for like 90 minutes. It's funny. I saw it twice actually. Once with a friend and once with Jessica. And it got funnier the second time even. So if you like him, you can't go wrong at all. Like it's got tons of laughs. And it's funny to watch it in a theater full of people who are there for the same reason, because they just have the same sensibility as you. And so there are like all these things that are inappropriate to laugh at or just awkward to laugh at, and everyone in the theater is laughing at the same time as you, or just kind of like the laughs are just not at the same time, but just kind of a wave of everyone catching their own, like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable, but I can't help but laugh. It's a great time. That one's one of the most fun, enjoyable things I've watched this past month.
Nice.
And then finally, the last thing I'll say, I caught the movie Wanda in theaters. I really love this movie. I've seen it at home. It's an older movie from 1970. It's directed by Barbara Loden. It stars Barbara Loden. You'll probably, if you've seen any Criterion Closets in the last couple years, actresses, like almost every single actress, like says, "Oh, and I got to pick up Wanda. Wanda's incredible." And if you watch Wanda, you'll understand why, because the lead performance in Wanda is just out of this world. I want to pitch this movie to make it sound interesting without giving away what happens, because this is one of those movies that swerves, which are, my favorite type of movies, where you just like, I did not expect this to happen. It's kind of a movie about a woman who the world, a woman who the world fucks over, so she's a bit of a fuck up. There are a lot of movies about guys who are just like fuck ups, kind of like, I know, Isla, you don't like this movie, Llewyn Davis. But I don't feel like there are as many movies about women like that, especially not from the 70s. And it's such a compassionate portrait of a woman who is a fuck up.
I'm interested in this because my general critique with asshole guy movies like Inside Llewyn Davis, they don't give me a reason to give a shit about him.
Oh, they do
with,
for
like,
this
Uncut
one.
Gems or any of those where I'm just like, okay, cool, but you're doing this to yourself and I hate you, so I don't care, Whereas with like The Worst Person in the World, like, she's not a great person, but I give a shit, And I love that movie. So like, yeah.
For Wanda, I feel like she's lovable and she's in bad situations and she's making the most of what she can, and she just doesn't love herself. And you're just like, oh, wow, this situation sucks so bad for you. And then it just takes the wildest right turn. It's as if Llewyn Davis all of a sudden turned into Ocean's 11, and you're like, I did not expect that to happen. Yeah. So such a wonderful movie, and to finally see it in a theater was just it was a great experience. You can't go wrong if you see that at home, in the theater, however you can get your hands on Wanda, and all those Criterion recommendations in the closet. If I were to wind up in the closet, I would pick Wanda. So yeah, see Wanda. I think that's it for me.
Sick.
What are you up to
Sounds
lately,
good.
Ubisoft?
Materialists I saw.
Ooh, I'm curious. Tell me about it.
Obsessed. Past Lives is like one of my favorites ever. And this one, I don't know if I liked it as much as that. But it's really relevant and such a good commentary on like the current state of relationships and people's insane standards, and just like the lack of connection when you're chasing what you think you want, and like the like restrictions you put on things. It's just about like, so much dating nowadays is like, I want someone who makes six figures. I want someone 6 foot tall. I want this and I want this and I want this. And that's like, the whole movie is like Dakota Johnson's a matchmaker. So she's like trying to match people and stuff. And it's just fucking good. It's sad. It's funny. It's everything. It actually gave me a lot of hope for the theater experience, because I saw this opening weekend I never do this. So this opening weekend Saturday night at like 8:30 because I was like, I just really want to see this movie like instantly. Pretty much a sold out show. Was so nervous that I was like, why am I even doing this?
That's like your least favorite.
Yeah.
thing.
Dude, everyone was locked the fuck in. Nobody said a word. Couple key laughs throughout. Like, everyone was locked. It was one of the best, like, theater crowds I've experienced in a long time. So, really liked that material.
I heard that Celine Song herself did that job or worked at a matchmaking firm herself in New York.
Yeah, there was some like
which is interesting.
Yeah, she like puts a lot of her own in the last two movies. A lot of like
How was Dakota Johnson in it?
My favorite she's ever been.
Okay.
Yes.
It's really interesting because I really like her.
Love her as a human.
I like her as a person.
And then I'm like 50-50 in the movies.
Yeah, and like because I really loved her performance in Suspiria remake, right? And then like I feel like sometimes she just knows the movie she's in, maybe, so she turns in like a really sardonic, like performance.
Yeah.
But then you see her in something else, and you're like, oh, you're showing up. So it's like, I don't know. It's wild. I don't know. She's really interesting. She seems fun.
Really good movie. I love that movie so much. And then rewatched City of God because I needed some hardcore shit.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Easily one an all timer.
Oh yeah.
Haven't seen it in
Incredible movie. I saw that in
a
theaters
few years.
100 years.
Oh, it's so good. I had forgotten that they have a follow-up show that came out last year on HBO. I'm like, need to go watch that. But City of God is just... There's some movies where I just like to say that's the hard shit. You know? That's the real stuff right there.
You're mainlining cinema.
Yes, exactly.
Right in the veins. Yeah.
So hardcore. Just a multi-decade odyssey through Rio, focusing on violence. It's a meditation on violence primarily, and a lot of children doing crazy ass shit. That movie's heavy. Proceed with caution, but an absolute all-timer.
Great performances.
I would put,
too,
I
from
would.
the kids and stuff.
Oh my god,
It's
they're all
insane.
They're all so amazing.
Yeah.
There are some scenes in there where I was just like, they're not acting.
Right.
They're like action. They're like really terrified.
It feels like a documentary, like half the time.
Yeah.
Or maybe the whole time. Like it's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then I've just been loving a lot of the big heavy hitter shows that are back right now. Ironheart is for no reason amazing.
Really?
So good.
I had written it off.
It is.
I wasn't even
so
going
good.
to try.
I also really like Daredevil, but you didn't like that, so I don't know. But I am 10 out of 10 on Ironheart. Really good cast of characters. She's amazing. Like, she felt forced in Wakanda Forever. Like she felt like a side character. Like,
She was in that?
yeah,
I don't even remember that.
Exactly. Her whole plot line in that, everything about that was just kind of like, okay, like, whatever.
That movie, The Shadow of Chadwick.
Exactly.
That's like all I was thinking about.
Totally. She is amazing in this. And
sick.
after, like, I remember leaving Thunderbolts and I was like, wow, it's so nice to really care about some characters again heavily for the future of the MCU.
Yeah.
Now after Ironheart, it's like, wow, I can't wait for her to show up again. I care about her more than a lot of the other characters.
And it's interesting too because if she has been in a movie already, because some of these shows, you know, you're like She-Hulk or whatever. It's like, okay, I really actually like this.
When is she gonna
But
show up?
she's just done forever because they don't care about the shows or what? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
What a mess.
And then Squid Game came back. I'm halfway through. Loving it.
Really? Okay.
This is my show that I love to take really slow. Crazy fucking spoilers, by the way, out there. Immediately could not dodge. Cool, fun, whatever. It is what it is. 2025. So keep your head down if somehow you've dodged things, because people were out there in the streets immediately.
Are they big? They're big ones that will like fuck it up.
Unavoidable.
Oh wow. Okay.
Unavoidable. Like, wow. Everyone just dropped that immediately. But I really, really like this show. I think a lot of it is being carried by, I forget his name in real life, but the main actor.
Main guy, he's real good. Yeah.
He's going down like as one of my favorite characters of the last couple years. I love him in the show. Just the range of emotions and where his character starts and goes. Like, such a good character.
Lee
I love
Jung
it.
Jae.
Yes, he's so great. So I'm really loving Squid Game. I know the last couple seasons have been so divisive, and I think a lot of that is because season 1 was such a out of nowhere cultural zeitgeist, and then they took years to come back, and season 2 was half of a season.
And it's one of those
So-
concepts that, like, on the tin, you're like, why are we getting more than one season of this
Yes.
idea? Like,
And season 2, I kind of felt that. I still liked it, but now season 3 is like justifying it.
Okay.
It's justified now,
This
for
is
sure.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I really like it. And then lastly, The Bear. The fucking Bear season 4.
Okay. I need to know about this because
Yeah,
I
this-
told Jessica,
this
I
show
was
is-
like, you watch season 4 because after season 3,
Yep.
I was like, I'm ready to dip out.
A
Like,
lot of people
I
are
loved the
dipping.
first 2. I loved the first 2, but the season 3
Yeah.
like really tested my patience.
A lot of people have been echoing that sentiment. Yes, I mostly agree with you. Season 3 was not as good. There was some like weirder episodes that just didn't hit because when the bear is operating at its peak power, every single episode feels so unique and so self-contained that when you finish one, it's like, wow, I just had a full course meal. And they're 30-minute episodes. It's like, wow, that was 30 dense minutes of like beginning, middle, and end. Holy shit. Season 3 didn't do that. Season 4 is back to doing that.
It's back. The bear's back.
The bear is back. I think the bear.
That's a t-shirt.
The bear is
the
back.
bear is back.
The bear is such a reflection of the human experience. I know that sounds like trite and cliche, but there are so many fucking things in this show that I just see and like deal with in real life, especially this season. Like, there's just a lot going on emotionally, narratively, where I can just really feel connected to so many of these characters' struggles. And I really appreciate that and respect that. And I think that's all anyone wants when they watch something. So The Bear is hitting hard for me. I'm like on episode 4 of 10. So still a long way to go, but an incredible start. And I'm fully back in. And now I'm back to that season 1 and 2 era, Matthew, where it's like when I finish one and then I start the day, like today, I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to get home and like finish my day with The Bear.
Yeah.
It's like my nightcap.
Oh, that's a good feeling.
Right before I go to
Nice.
bed, I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, before I go to bed, episode of The Bear. So excited. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a good feeling.
Yeah. So
I like that. Yeah.
super good. That's all.
All right. I went to my friend had a movie, a feature in Dances with Films here in LA called A Bloody Mess.
A bloody mess.
And it's his, I think, debut feature. I edited with him back at Viacom, Paramount, whatever. And he's a sweetie. I love him to pieces. And before the movie, he was like, "Oh yeah, and your song is in there." And I was like, "Oh yeah!" Like I forgot I gave him a song, but I couldn't remember which one. And he was like, "Yeah, it's the credit song." So when the credits hit, I was like, "Oh right." And it was like one of my older songs from Easy Update actually, but he had found it and reached out and was like, "Hey, can I use this?" And I was like, "Hell yeah," you know. So that was really fun seeing my name up on a,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
on
great.
the big screen.
So fun.
In the songs there, that was really nice. Anyway, it's called A Bloody Mess.
A bloody
The,
mess.
the tagline is.
It sounds like a Wallace and Gromit movie.
It does, yeah, like a
Wallace and
R-rated,
Gromit, A Bloody
R-rated
Mess.
Wallace and Gromit. Yeah, this is pretty R-rated. It's like the tagline is a film about rage. That's a movie about revenge. That's a documentary about shit.
Whoa.
And so it's about.
This
it's-
sounds hardcore.
It's sort of he sort of took the.
Does somebody get like a? Is there like a stabbing? An intense. This movie
well,
is a
who's to
stabbing.
say? Who's to say?
Somebody gets hit with a
Who's
screwdriver.
to say?
Screwdriver to
But-
the neck movie.
So it's a mockumentary about silo of manure that exploded in a small town in Texas that flooded the town with feces.
Whoa.
And killed one woman. And like made the town smell like poop forever.
Colin
and like
Brockovich.
ruined everything. Yeah. And in real life there was apparently a manure silo explosion, and then he kind of combined that with the famous molasses flood of like the early 1900s, if you've heard of that. We're like a 40-foot wall of molasses.
Yes, and it like swallowed some people up.
Killed like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's like fucked up. Anyway, so it's sort of a combination of those elements. I thought it was really good. I thought a few of the performances were kind of uneven, but like that's kind of my only real critique of it. Is like and like when your friend makes a thing and you're like, yeah, this is actually pretty good.
That's awesome.
That's really nice. Mary Birdsong is in it. She was in Reno 911. You'd recognize her if you saw it, probably. She's one of the bigger names in it. Otherwise, it's like improv, like unknown, like, people. Really pretty cool movie. A Bloody
Awesome.
Mess by Daniel Hayden.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
That's so cool.
Last night, Sophia and my friend Josh and I put on Fountain of Youth.
Fountain of Youth.
The Apple Plus movie starring John Krasinski and Natalie Portman.
This looked rough.
Hoping that it would fit into the sort of national treasure, kind of the vibe of this episode. It starts off that way, and then it just like loses it and loses it and loses it. It's like halfway through the movie, I was like, I can already tell, like editor brain, I was like, I can already tell this needs to be 40 minutes shorter. Like there's just too much bullshitting around and like arguing and like stuff that doesn't make sense.
Some of those streaming
so annoying.
movies, for no reason, are so bloated.
Just longer than it needs to be.
Like 2 hours, 20, 30 minutes. You're
this
like,
is 2
what?
hours and 7 minutes. It should be. It should
hour
be like
40.
Yeah, it should be hour 40, soaking wet.
Yeah.
Like tops.
Crazy.
I like that as a phrase. Yeah. Hour 40 soaking wet. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was, I don't know, it had some cute moments. I expected to kind of hate it immediately, but it was cute. It started out all right. It had a few set pieces.
The Wicked Bible needs to be a heavier portion.
Yes. Yeah, you were like,
Should all be about the Wicked Bible.
yeah, because I had mentioned to Matt as I was watching it, and he was like, yeah, it's sort of like a sister
Ninth
film
Gate.
to Ninth Gate, and I was like, what? And then like they found a thing.
I was
like,
exaggerating
oh, yeah.
for comic effect.
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like really related to the Polanski movie, but I was like, I just want John Krasinski like in a hardcore like satanic versus
Yeah.
like maybe
Dude,
yeah.
I like that. Like, fuck Roman Polanski every direction. Throw him into the fucking sun. But Chinatown and Ninth Gate, man.
Anna
Fuck.
Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
A lot.
That asshole can make some fucking
Yeah.
films.
Yeah. It's
Fuck.
kind of annoying.
Fuck. Pisses me off. I haven't
Yeah.
since I found
I
out.
haven't rewatched one.
Since I found out
of
he's a
Will I
fucking
Ever?
dirty rapist.
Yeah.
I haven't rewatched any of his movies.
Same.
But fuck.
Yeah.
Chinatown is a good movie. And it
Yeah.
pisses me off so bad.
Same.
Anyway, something else good. I'm not done with it yet, but Day of the Jackal, dude. I'm late to the party, but this is fucking
Oh, the show,
great.
the series.
God, I
Yeah.
love that fucking show.
We're like halfway. We're like 5 or 6
Love it.
episodes in.
How good are both of them?
Fucking
They
great.
are so sick.
Yeah, and it's like it's so interesting because other assassin movies, especially The Jackal, which I thought the movie was really bad with Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis, Jack Black.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Jack Black.
Jack Black is in the
Jack
Jackal
Black, he's
movie?
the one who makes Jack Black run across the field or whatever.
Oh my
like,
god!
run.
I forgot.
Jack
he had
Black's like, what are you talking about, man?
I forgot he had like a fucking comedic. Oh my god!
Yeah.
See, that movie's insane. But so many things make.
Richard Gere hunting him down.
Yeah.
There it is.
So many movies make the assassin a psychopath in real life, like he's faking with everybody,
Yeah.
and then on the job, it's when he seems really alive. This one kind of flips it, where it's like, I actually believe that he loves his wife and kid,
Obsessed with his wife, dude.
and
yeah.
and when he's on the job, it seems like he is turning his feelings off and
Yeah.
like phoning that in. Not phoning it in because he's incredible at killing people, but
Yeah.
like. It's sort of
Just
like
his job. He's going to work.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. He's just going to work.
Yeah.
and he just does what he has. It's sort of like the Amazon series, The Patriot. I don't know if we've ever mentioned that on this show before.
just Patriot.
Yeah, Patriot, not The Patriot. Sorry. I love that movie that show because he does sort of that where he's like just so depressed
Yeah.
and he'll do what he needs to do, but he's not gonna like it.
He might even sing some folk songs about it
Yeah.
that give away too many
Leak
details.
state secrets in
The
a folk
Jackal
song.
hype.
And then
Give me all the Day of the Jackal content. Give me it all. Give me
yeah.
the Day of the Jackal cinematic universe.
dude on like Overland or Sepulveda or something. There's like a huge billboard for your consideration of Day of the Jackal, and it's just him with a giant sniper rifle, just like
my
looking
God.
straight at you.
Jeez.
And I'm like, oh,
Dope.
I like Eddie Redmayne.
Love
man.
Eddie Redmayne.
Like I know some people
Love
like
him.
disagree with him because of the Danish Girl or whatever, but he
Love
said
him.
like, hey, I wouldn't do that again now. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's a good egg. I don't know.
I agree. Great dude.
Yeah, and then lastly, I feel like there's a bunch of other stuff I've seen, but like lastly, the thing I've been watching week to week is Poker Face.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, season 2.
I'm caught up on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen today's, but if there is in fact a new one today, I think there is. But it's weird. It's like I still really like it, but I feel like they leaned a little too hard into like being silly and goofy or something. Like the tone of it feels like it like went a little too into the like funny joke. Like there are like actual jokes in it.
I
like,
remember
way
the
more
first
often.
season was pretty silly. I think the jokes just landed better.
Yeah.
Well,
they
I
felt
remember them
more
both
in
being pretty
situ.
comedic. Yeah, exactly. They were both they both got pretty goofy.
Yeah.
I just felt like they were better written in the first season.
Yeah.
I still like it, but
Yeah.
yeah, there were some goofy ass characters in the first season.
Like the first season felt like a modern, like a revisionist Columbo or Murder, She Wrote, where it's like we're taking that idea and making it like modern and realistic and whatever. And season 2 just feels like Murder, She Wrote or Columbo, which is not a
Yeah.
bad thing.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
a
a
different
good
thing.
point. Yeah.
It's just not revisionist anymore. It
It's
just
kind of
is.
settling into
Yeah.
no, this is the genre we are.
It's,
yeah.
it went from like prestige serialized, into just procedural kind of. Yeah, I don't know.
It stopped raising its eyebrow at
Yeah.
the genre,
Yeah.
and now it's just like plugging along.
Yeah, which is also cute. Like I love a cozy mystery, and I also like that this season it's kind of shaking things up because not every episode is about a murder, which I think is actually pretty refreshing. Because like
Nice.
I was like, this is kind of dark. Like,
It's a lot of murders.
and it really does something this show does that not a lot of those older shows do. Like Murder, She Wrote, the person who gets killed, you usually don't like. Like you usually can see why someone killed them. This show does like the opposite of that, where it really endears you, usually, not always, to the victim. So when they die, you're like, oh, fuck. Like, I really liked that guy.
yeah, I love that shit.
Like
I hope justice is served somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how that separates the good from the bad media.
Yeah.
Like in horror, you got to care about the victims.
yeah.
You got
Oh,
to.
Yeah, you have to.
I agree.
Like,
I'm not a big fan of they're all assholes in horror.
yeah.
Like we're gonna slowly pick off
Yeah.
6
No.
assholes. I'm like, that's not fun for me at
Boring.
all.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
one
boring.
jerk. One jerk
Yeah,
is
have
fine.
one
That's
jerk.
fun. But yeah.
Because then you get the good. Then you root for the killer for the one.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, we had that. We had that like
Yeah.
brutal slasher kill. No, yeah.
Yeah. Like there was an episode, Matt, you'll know what I'm talking about. The episode in the big box store, like that Walmart style store.
Yeah.
I was I was like, oh no, I really like this guy.
Oh, well, I mean, that guy's great from. Oh, you mean Well,
The
there's an actor who shows up
Well, and
who's
I like
great from everywhere.
I like the
yeah.
perpetrator as well, but
Yeah, the victim, you're like, oh no, because you want good things for her.
Yeah.
We're being so vague.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
vague posting. Sorry. We just want you to enjoy the show when you get there.
good.
And I don't think it ruins
hear what you
anything to say Patty Harrison is
Patty
in
Harrison.
this. And
She's
she's
so,
amazing.
like, I mean,
I'm
like-
just happy when she shows up in things because she's the best.
And her performance, her acting style is so funny too because it's like she's so matter of fact, and like she's usually cast to play very matter of fact people, you know. But like I saw her live a little bit ago, and like, oh my god, she's just such.
Her shows are just like out there.
Fucking
like
incredible.
Her sense of humor, just
Yeah.
like it just
I
like.
was at her Halloween show last October, and with my friend Josh, who I watched Fountain of Youth with last night, and yeah, that was uproarious.
Uproarious.
Check out Patty Harrison if you don't know her. All right, beep boop. So back to the heady, insane, dumb, maybe crazy idea that I was spouting off about. I just asked, what movie is most emblematic of the good times for you? And good times is in big quotes, you know. And as you know, as are the rules, everything counts. Let me.
Someone may be
refresh.
having their good times now.
I mean,
You know,
yeah,
there
dog.
there are a lot of people in the like 70s who consider that was like the great period of American cinema, and that 80s was a horrible dip. You know, who had been
We got that
alive for a
sci-fi, though.
while. Yeah, well, they thought it was all just trash, like
Oh.
mass market trash. And then they were like, finally, the '90s boom of independent cinema
Right.
is
Which
saving
we might be
film
getting back
from
into
the
now?
from the
We'll see.
'80s decade of horrible slop. You know, which is
Yeah.
weird because we lived through some of the '80s, and well, I lived through all of it. And then I was
I
like,
was there for half of it.
this is my golden childhood. These movies are just so pristine and happy, and like the '90s also are great when so many people had been alive for a long time are like,
Yeah.
this is the like death of cinema. So like a lot of it I think is comes down to perspective. But
And obviously, like, the real answer is, like, since the dawn of cinema, every year, every decade has had good and bad movies.
Oh, hell
in it.
yeah.
Like, I mean, like, it would be interesting to go back through the entire history of cinema to see if there even has been one year where, like,
There's not one
it
good
was
movie.
below average. Yeah,
Yeah.
even, like, just below average.
oh, I'm sure. I'm
There's probably
sure.
one, like, maybe the
sure.
40s, maybe 1942 had a dip for reasons. But, like,
I think House of Monk is 42.
oh, shit. Okay, well,
No.
there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe 44. When was like everyone occupied with World War II? When was
Yeah.
43, 44? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. This is a dumb topic and it's ridiculous and obviously it's
No, it's not. It's very fruitful. It's good. I have so many thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just the opening salvo.
the opening salvo.
Salvo.
No, but I mean, I totally hear what you're saying because I mean, like thinking of the 70s, just like some of the all-time greats popping in my mind, like fucking Apocalypse Now, Godfather, like fuck The Conversation, like some of my favorites of all time.
Same.
All Coppola apparently, but yeah. All right. So Jason Wojnar says, being born in 1994. Holy fuck. Okay. Sorry. Being born in 1994, this era was before my time. I do, however, vividly remember seeing The Matrix in 1999. Dude, fuck yes. 1999
Matrix.
might be the peak of human civilization. Like, The Matrix might have been right.
Yeah.
And it being a transformative experience. It's funny to think about this prompt where I live now. Yeah, I was actually thinking of you guys in Ukraine while I wrote this, where I was like, okay, this is obviously an Amerocentric post. So I was aware of that while I was writing this. And I was like, that's why I'm taking this with such a grain of salt, you know? Anyway. It's funny to think about this prompt where I live now, though, because making movies in the newly independent Ukraine meant no longer having to deal with absurd censorship rules. It was also a time when the country had no money. I mean, it's hard to appreciate the level of poverty at the time until you talk to people who grew up or were already working then. There are still a lot of great films from the era, like The Voice of Grass that I mentioned before, but they were clearly made with zero money. My anything else for this month is a documentary my friend made called Warning, Life Goes On, great title, which follows an artist who lives in Izium, a Ukrainian city that was under Russian occupied control for several months and creates pieces of visual art mostly on buildings and structures that were destroyed by Russia. Wow. It uses this as a lens to dive into the city and the lives of several of the people who lived through occupation. including a woman who was held captive and tortured by Russia for several weeks, along with her husband, and a man who lost most of his family in a missile strike. The residents are all welcoming and react positively to the artist's works, reminding us that visual art's healing power and relevance is not something that is or should be reserved for high society, but a fundamental part of our humanity. Yeah, fucking A. Warning, life goes on.
Sounds
is the name
good.
of that. That sounds incredible. But yeah, I mean, that's such an interesting and different perspective. Like, being born in 94, coming from Ukraine, like, that's pretty opposite
Yeah.
to my experience.
I think I saw the Garbage Pail Kids movie when I was 5 years old.
Whoa.
The Matrix would have been a much better movie to see.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember at my first job, so I was 14, which I guess tracks with the math of 1999. And the bigger kids were telling me about Blair Witch Project and The Matrix. And Blair Witch Project, like, we were
The
all
hard
so scared
shit.
because we all thought it was real.
It was real.
Like, everyone
really
was like,
happened.
yeah, the way they marketed that, everyone was like, we don't know, like, this happened.
Yeah.
Like, and the older kids, you know, who I looked at, like, they were probably 17, but I was 14, so they looked like giants. They were like, yeah, it's real.
Straight
it happened. And then they told me about The Matrix. And my mom, I remember, because my brain was already starting to kind of dissociate as a means of dealing with depression. And my mom didn't want me to see The Matrix because she was like, look, your grasp on reality is not great as it is. Like, I don't want you getting any
Aw.
ideas. Because she thought I was suicidal. But, like, I wasn't. But
Just needed
yeah.
to see the Matrix.
I just needed to see The Matrix.
Yeah.
Mom. But yeah, 99 was a nutcase year.
Yeah.
You want to read that one?
Codolito. I have so many thoughts on this. I'm going to try my best to line up some observations and let you discuss. P.S. This went long, so feel free to shorten as needed. Looking back, there is so much that made, especially the 90s, a happier place. It was the end of the Cold War, pre-9/11. Climate change was still more future threat than everyday life, and the predatory capitalism of Reagan and Thatcher had not yet fully bloomed into the hellscape of late capitalism we live in today. Fuck!
Yeah. I mean, that is true. Like, so much of this has to do with politics, and, like, the shit that Reagan fucked up hadn't fucked up everything too terribly yet.
Cascade effect.
The cascade failure of America was still in its, only 70% loaded era.
Pre-social media, too.
Oh my God.
We haven't
yeah.
even talked about that.
Dude, that is another huge factor.
The way we fucking consume and
this
analyze.
destroyed humanity.
Yeah, the way we
Phones and
analyze
the internet,
movies
dude.
and just like how everything now is just like numbers, like Rotten Tomatoes,
numbers,
box
Mason.
office, like putting a fucking number on art and that becomes the like cultural representation of how good it is or not. Like a movie gets a bad Rotten and everyone's just like, no, write it off. It sucks.
Don't even go, yeah.
Don't even go. No, movie's bad.
Well, not to mention,
like society just says it's bad because of a number on it.
yeah,
It's insane.
not to mention that it's basically doing what humans did to dogs
Mm-hmm.
to people, where it's like selective evolutioning our attention spans.
Yeah.
Shorter and shorter and shorter.
It's insane, dude.
Novelty. Everyone has novelty addiction now.
Everything is disposable.
It's not just for porn anymore.
This was reflected in culture. There is still hope for a better future. Things were deemed rad, not cringe. And more than anything, alternative and counterculture were working in tandem with the mainstream.
Yeah.
Case in point, Paul Verhoeven was a household name, and they
Yeah.
sold RoboCop toys for children. Now we are shocked that Disney let Andor get made.
Right.
The return of Apple and the popularization of Scandinavian minimalism has been driving everything towards a "it just works" mentality. This has led to a trend that a lot of production is bare minimum and quality is out of fashion.
Yeah.
Streaming has made entertainment media from art towards utility, with mostly spectacle, action, and horror surviving in the cinema. Corporations have hijacked youth culture through social media, wrecking both attention spans and critical thinking. Not as in knowing facts from fiction, but as in looking at a piece of entertainment with critique in mind.
I had hoped this episode would be an oasis where we
No.
would remember the cute shit like
Now it's just
Jumanji.
like, fuck.
And now I'm like, oh wait, This is just gonna make us think about all the bad shit the whole episode, isn't it?
All this combined has led to. What were you gonna say, Matt?
I think the picture that you showed of the stages of the McDonald's probably prompted it.
Bleak. All this combined has led
Mommy's angry. Sorry.
to a more self-conscious, risk-averse, and drab media landscape. For instance, comedy movies were considered a blockbuster genre in the 90s. Now it almost doesn't exist outside of streaming TV shows. I like that one. Great.
I was in line. I was in line for Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls, and it sold out while I was in line for the theater in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. Population 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Like a Jim Carrey nutcase screwball comedy sold out in movie theaters, and there was a line up the block in a small town, Wisconsin.
My silver lining for all the comedy lovers is that, like, we're in or almost in a golden age for dramedies. So sit with that.
Thank
They're
you, Spanglish.
So good. Love dramedies. But I have a feeling that change is on the horizon. The rise of reaction channels has helped expose older movies and TV shows to a younger audience.
That's a fair point.
And as I briefly discussed with Isla on the Discord, there seems to be a trend among Gen Z to start to appreciate the good sides of older media and culture. Classic anime of the month is Heat Guy J, which answers the question, what if the creators of Escaflowne tried to riff on Cowboy Bebop in a cyberpunk city with the aesthetic of early 2000s cell phones? Story takes a while to get going, but if you are shopping for that turn of the millennium tech design, this is a show for you. Also,
oh my god,
the protagonist.
Those are just magic words for me. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like you just said, like everything I need to hear.
Get this.
Also, the protagonist has a Che Guevara poster in his bedroom. Love and respect.
Okay.
Oh, Heat Guy J.
Yeah. Thank you, because I'm shopping for a new anime to start currently. This morning I had insomnia and I was like, what can I watch? Yeah. So thank you. This sounds perfect.
2002.
2002. Okay.
Okay, I've not seen. Oh yeah, this big robot guy. I've seen like an episode of this.
Fucking A.
That big robot dude.
Oh man, that looks so Escaflowne.
Yeah, I've seen like one episode of this as a child.
Heat Guy J. What a fucking name.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I think all these observations are excellent.
This was a dense and incredible post.
Yeah, it's close to a lot of the things I was going to say. I mean, I think you see things that, the FCC loosened controls on consolidation of media companies. So there was a rush for everyone to buy each other. There's like that thing of like, 3 companies like own every other company. That's not exactly the case, but it's not far from it. And studios were buying up other studios the same way in the video game industry and then just letting them collapse. So you had small places like New Line Cinema or Dimension or all these other ones that would like fund different kinds of movies, and they just got eaten up or collapsed. And so
even the big kids had their like Fox Searchlight, like every big company had an indie imprint that still kicked out some pretty decent shit. Like, yeah.
And so you start to see like this, culture of sameness and blandness across a lot of things.
Everyone just looks at social media and is just trying to like pinpoint that exact, like, how do we go viral? How do we have something that'll, like for a minute there, the whole like dancing in Wednesday and shit. Every movie was like, they were like, we're gonna have movies like with dance numbers to get the TikTok crowd.
And
it's just
the
like
JJ Shuffle, like in the studio that they were gonna have the Kool-Aid guy do. Is that what it was called? I can't remember.
Something.
But, yeah. But yeah, the way the McDonald's slowly evolved is, they wanted like whatever city in the country you went to, you get off the airplane and it all looks exactly the same. There's not like a McDonald's that has like its own local variety with like this weird Grimace and Hamburglar playground that some local franchisee decided to like design. It's like, no, we're following this strict code of conduct. It looks like this Apple store here, everywhere. There's like, it gets a little boring to, talk about, but it's fascinating to read. People like Frederick Jameson or Baudrillard. Frederick Jameson has this great book called postmodernism, the cultural logic of late capitalism, which sounds dry as fuck, but it's fascinating because
Yeah.
he's like one of those postmodern theorists who like talks about the talking heads and fun things like that, but he uses like an analytical lens for it. And they talk about how like things become copies of copies of copies, and how at first like images were supposed to be copies of something specific, and then things became copies of something that they knew they were mimicking, and eventually things became copies of something that they weren't even sure they were mimicking. If you can think of like something, you know, like Tarantino's ripping off specific styles, but then someone rips off of like Tarantino and they don't even know what Tarantino's ripping off
Right,
of.
right.
And then all of a sudden you see like a, you know, like a, maybe like a Marvel movie, which I love some Marvel movies, but like maybe not like a, you know, sub-tier Marvel movie, and you're like, is this vaguely like Tarantino-esque? They're doing some quippy stuff and they're like chopping up the style, and it's got like all these weird kind of like muddy special effects that don't look like something in the real world, but they don't look like anything like great imaginary, and you're like
Purple
just
lasers.
floating. Yeah, you're just floating in this nether world where nothing feels or looks real. It's kind of bland, and you've just lost all reference to any kind of reality or any kind of reference to culture. And that's where people start to feel this sort of like ache, you know, like where did the culture go? There are people who can say this a lot better than I am. I really recommend Baudrillard and Frederick Jameson, and there are probably other cultural critics who say these things very eloquently. But whenever I see these things occurring, I'm like, oh my God, we're like in hyperdrive of what these people were discussing, you know, 20 years ago. But this write-in did a great job of, you know, articulating things that have been on my mind. Yeah, thank you for sending that. Yeah.
That idea of like the simulacra, like a representation of something that never existed, or you know, like an image of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, where it's like we don't even know what we're riffing on anymore, is so interesting, because like there is so much of that in social media and in society today. Like I even find myself wondering if like governmentally, like, you know, it's like, is anyone steering the ship? Like, are there true believers in these movements that are happening, or are they just doing it because someone told them to do it and no one's actually in charge anymore? Like, has the ideology just taken over and no one is steering the ship? And like, and I don't know what's worse. Like if there is some evil mastermind, or if someone is just doing it because they think they should. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Where are
does
the
Ted
aliens?
Cruz watch Star Wars and Miyazaki movies when he does an AI meme that mashed together? Do you know what I mean?
Right. Like, oh, we're so beyond the pale. Like, we're so post-reality. It's fucking incredible.
It's disturbing.
So that's why Jumanji is good, to conclude my point.
Love Jumanji.
Yeah.
Fuck, I want to
Robin
watch
Williams,
Jumanji.
dude, the realest one.
I'm watching Independence Day tonight.
Oh, yeah?
100%.
Hell yeah. Tonight is our Independence Day.
Yeah, tonight is the night to watch it because it's 2.5 hours, so it'll go into the fourth.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's
Got
so
some great
many-
imagery I'm feeling right now.
Hell
I'll be
yeah.
specific.
Bill Pullman.
It's the aliens. That's what
Yeah.
that's the imagery I want to see.
Did you know that they made them cut the... So in the trailer for Independence Day, it's the classic White House shot. That's not actually in the movie. It cuts away. It's just an explosion. It cuts away. Like, you don't actually see it blow up the White House.
No.
In the movie, it's like...
No.
It's implied through the edit, but like they had to edit it out because they were like, this isn't marketable.
No way.
Yeah.
I'll
It
be
cuts
looking
to
out.
watch it tonight.
I'll be looking out. I'll be looking out.
It cuts to the helicopter. It cuts to the
Amazing.
fireball going toward the helicopter, or something like
tonight-
that.
tonight,
They
sick.
change it. Compare it to the trailer. They changed it.
Wow. That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many aspects to this. I mentioned this in the upper, in my original prompt, but like, I honestly wonder, because like there was this rash of videos on early early YouTube where everything looked gray and not color corrected, and that was largely due to vloggers just leaving their footage in S-Log and not color correcting it.
Wow.
And like that visual language became acceptable to the masses. This sort of washed out gray thing became the cool look in the early 2000s. And it was largely just because people didn't know how to use their cameras, or maybe they were choosing it intentionally. But like, I honestly wonder, like, if that, like, becoming acceptable on YouTube led to the kind of pallid color correction of the MCU or whatever, that we have nowadays. It's kind of crazy because, like, the default, we were talking about this as we were starting this, but, like, what happened to lighting?
What
Like,
the fuck happened to lighting?
in film school, I was
What
taught
the
to light
fuck?
everything like it was going to be black and white, even if it's in color. Like, you put the edge lights, you have separation from the background. Even in here, like, I set up these lights. We have this purple magenta edge light on us
So that
all
there's
the
depth,
time.
yeah.
So there's depth, so you can see behind us. So you can see, like, look at my shoulder if you're watching the video. Like, you can see the separation of us in the background, and it gives it the 3D space, right?
I blame
like-
the factory pressing, not being in the mud out there making movies, just making them in the studio and moving on to the next. Why bother? Why take time? I feel like that philosophy can be applied to so many things in life for corporations, where it's like, let's give them less and charge them more. We don't need to have the quality for so many of these things that have already
The shrinkflation of
made
color
it.
correction.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
But like the consumer has to accept it too.
But the consumer doesn't even know they're missing the lighting.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah.
even know. So why then do they even bother to make good lighting? They just want to get their movie out. We need people like Tom
Exactly.
Cruise
Well,
Yeah.
that are going to spend $200 million on a movie.
and
for the
with
craft.
with the prevalence of green screen, and now like the volume, like the sort of shooting on virtual sets, like the first season of Mandalorian looked good because they took extra care to use real props, to use real settings in front of the volume, to put it in the physical space. But then later stuff, Falcon and Winter Soldier, et cetera, looks fucking like it's in the middle of nowhere.
One shot in Andor season 2, maybe more than one, but like one, I believe, used the volume, and it was a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
They did it for Andor and Bix's safe house.
Oh, sure.
That
okay.
was the volume.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
looked fucking good.
Yeah.
Because they had like
Because they had all the real life
shit and
yeah.
then just volume in the back. It was
Yeah.
like, dude, there
Like,
you go.
If you're in a real set, people have been doing this forever. Rear projection out a train window, whatever. Like, if everything is real and then the thing that's in the depth of focus, like out of focus background is fake, that's fine. If anything, it's kind of good. It's
Yeah.
kind of fun. Like,
But
it
so
gives
many
it a little bit of a,
It feels like so many times they're just like standing there with nothing.
Yeah.
And then it's like fake shot in the back.
Yeah.
It's like,
And it's just
what
like,
the hell?
Anyway.
And just lastly, to like talk about the prompt of like the 90s especially and earlier stuff. So much on location.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing.
Because there's no alternative.
Yeah, it's like the fucking best. I just rewatched like Maverick the other day.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Before I went to Vegas, I was like,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
watching
Hell
Maverick.
yeah.
The
I
night-
just rewatched
Yeah.
Maverick like a couple of months
Yeah.
ago.
like the little town they're in the beginning, all those buildings they probably made to do that, and like the riverboat, and they're out there and traveling through the desert and stuff. It's like, it's real.
Yeah.
And it'll age forever, timelessly, because it's real.
Yeah.
And just like, where did we go wrong with this reliance on lazy tech? And not even lazy tech, just like aging tech, not looking good tech, like no foresight, I guess.
There's a weird parallel to video games with cinema and television that's happened because of the tech that's been evolving.
They each want to look like each other.
Kind of, yeah. They each want to look like each other, and also like this is the thing I've always
Kissing
said.
cousins.
Yeah, this is the thing I've always said with video games. Like anytime a video game is trying to be on the cutting edge of graphics, it's gonna look bad in 2 years. Like that was especially true, in the middle period of gaming.
Batman Arkham Knight 2015 still looks 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are exceptions, but like things that
Shout
looked
out.
like bleeding edge crazy. I mean, original Final Fantasy VII, right?
Yeah.
Like blew my fucking mind, and then like
Aged out.
now it looks crazy.
Yeah.
and like in a nice way, kind of. But like movies are sort of, I don't even know if they are like that actually. Now that I'm saying this, because it's like shit just looks bad day one. Like
80 sci-fi still looks
Yeah.
so good.
Jurassic Park 1 used CG
Yeah.
for a lot of those dinosaurs.
Big old T-Rex.
And it still looks fucking great.
Still looks great.
Like there's a little bit of gamma problems here and
Yeah.
there on like the Brachiosaurus or whatever. But like for 93, that's like the fourth movie to ever use CG.
That's crazy.
It's like, goddamn. Terminator 2 looks insane.
It still looks so good.
Oh my god, yeah, it does. It really, really does.
So
It's
good.
crazy because they were inventing it as they went and they had to do it right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
No
yeah,
shortcuts.
that's why, what do they say? Like, scarcity is the mother of invention or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, give me a scrappy team of go-getters with a $400,000 budget
Mm-hmm.
over, a team of people with a fucking AI
Yeah.
CG machine.
Some of these goddamn Netflix movies that have like $200 million budgets. Like,
Look
I
like
bet,
ass.
I bet your Apple TV one you just watched, then Fake National Treasure, I don't even want to know the budget of that movie.
It's a very high.
I bet it
probably.
was
There are a lot of people-
150 plus.
Stanley Tucci just like shows up, and I was like, "You don't have to act this well. Listen to the dialogue you're saying. Like you're giving this way too much, Tucci. Come on now."
Jeez.
At least it looked okay. Like nothing looked terrible in
That's
that
good,
one,
that's
but like God,
The Apple quality, at least.
yeah, whatever.
So I think there's a combo. There is some rose-colored glasses because
Oh,
it's
for
when
sure.
we grew up. That happens. I think people are gonna look back on the 70s because that's when they grew up and be like, "This is the
Yeah.
best." And I think people are gonna look back on the early 2000s and be like, "There wasn't a better time." But I also think there's some truth to it that as time has moved on and corporate consolidation has moved on and we're in this ugly, gross period of tech, there is some truth that, things have gotten a little mushy and gross and unartistic in a lot of ways. And there
Yeah.
are exceptions. Great art still gets made, but the middle,
Definitely.
the soggy
lot.
middle is bad. Where we used to have a lot of nice get us to second plate movies. There are a lot of those that were decent.
Base.
And second base. Yeah. And they're just not as good anymore. Yeah.
To put a positive, like I don't know, I've seen a few people say this, and I've kind of had this feeling too, where it's like, I almost feel like because the corporate bullshit of everything is getting so bananas, that I almost feel like it is possible that indies have a 90s-esque resurgence soon, especially because like the culture right now feels like it's in the middle of something. Like we're at the tail end or well beyond probably the superhero saturation, and like zombies ain't it, and like
It's dramedies.
yeah,
It's
and-
movies
and-
like Materialists and Past Lives
and I
where
think-
people are
yeah.
so fucking lonely and depressed. They watch a movie and they just feel things about
Yeah.
life. And you can make those movies for relatively cheap.
yeah.
Like I feel that's where all the real art is gonna come from. Real
It's
soon.
writing, acting, and then maybe
Yeah.
you get
real
like,
stories.
an A-lister in there to get attention. But yeah.
I want movies certainly sub 20 million, but like sub 10, sub 5. I want those to start coming back in a big way.
Horror,
Like,
just horror now, but yeah, it needs to go to
Yeah.
other genres too.
yeah. From some stranger, and then a little.
Strange.
This emote always makes it. It's like a dash, an underscore, and a dash. It makes me think of Indiana Jones after he says, "We are going to die,"
We
are
are
going
going
to
to die.
and he just does that like flat little face. Anyway, some stranger. Hello, my favorite movie podcast. Oh, thanks. I think there is a simple reason with a slightly complex explanation. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was a greater sense of wonder. Oh. The term movie magic still existed without it being bogged down as it is now, with the highly charged amount of insight we have about the movie making process. We are now focused on so many aspects, and we have access to so many opinions.
So many.
I mean, hell,
opinions.
we see the actors appear all the time eating spicy chicken or some shit online while talking about the movie. We know too much, which means we appreciate things less. The wonder is gone.
That's why I avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
That's why I don't watch. You're nailing it. That's why I don't watch anything about a movie before it's out because I'm chasing that wonder. It's not even about being spoiled. It's like I want to go in fresh with no baggage.
There is like nothing better than going into a movie not even knowing what genre it is.
It's the best.
My favorite
feeling.
thing is like, oh, I heard that was good. Let's go see it.
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I like this person. Oh, I
Yeah.
like that poster. Like, let's just
Right,
go.
Right. Yeah.
I watched Owen Wilson on Hot Ones though, and guess what he
like Hot
said? Guess what he said? He said, "Wow." I'm not even joking. Like, wow.
God, I love him and
is
Loki.
fun.
I love him so much.
That guy's a great interviewer, but yeah, we do.
he's
We
the
know a
best.
lot. We know a lot. My favorite movie of all time is Dark City. Fuck
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
Dark City, dude.
It looks
Oh,
glorious.
I was working on some like materials for my music stuff, and a picture of me from a shot in a still in one of my music videos made me think of the Sway scene from Dark City, and so I named the file Island Annette Sway, thinking of Dark City like 3 hours ago. And an ex of mine, Ash, had someone do a painting of me as that moment from that scene. Fucking love Dark City.
Love
one of
Dark
my
City.
favorites. I learned that they used some set from that movie for The Matrix. It's true, and it was filmed in my home country of Australia. That was it, and I loved it. My favorite cinema going experience was Jurassic Park. Yeah, damn right.
Hell yeah.
The sense of scale and excitement I had watching will forever be with me. I read the book and had the magazine about the movie. Had a magazine about the movie. It was so special as there was nothing else like it. Now there's too much content, so our enjoyment is diluted, and new powerful memories are hard to construct. Yeah, man. I mean,
There's just too much.
I was 8 years old, went to see, and I was like, Dad, can we go see Jurassic Park? Expecting him to say no, and he was like, yeah, let's go. And he took me, even though I wasn't 13 yet, PG-13. I was aware, 1993, dude. Changed my life.
Hell yeah.
Seriously.
I ripped the handle off the armrest because I was like gripping it so tight during the Velociraptor. I was like,
Yeah.
and then it like came off in my hand in the theater. I was a little embarrassed.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 12 years old, so
Yeah.
it got me.
I loved that. Like, I've said this before, but I literally think of my life as like pre-JP and post-JP. Like 1993 is year zero, and like everything after that, it's all movies, baby. Like that.
They package it, then they package it. They package
They
it.
sell it. You want to sell it?
He called it. Yeah.
He knew.
He knew. Yeah. Jurassic Park knew. They be knew.
You want to read Fede?
Fede. I think what you're getting at is that decades ago, being profitable was good enough. Well, nowadays, you need record-breaking profits every quarter.
Good point.
Otherwise, investors see it as a sign of a company tanking. So,
Pause for 1 second. Yeah, like that space for like, they call them exploitation films, but like that space for, I mean, it's largely still just horror movies where it's like, hey, we're going to make a movie for a $1 million budget. It's
Yeah.
going to make $5 million and we're going to be happy.
yeah.
Like that used to be every genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Megan 2 is tanking, but it was only like 10 or 15 million or
Yeah.
something because it's a sequel, obviously.
Yeah.
The first one was only like 4 or
Yeah.
5, I think.
Yeah.
And it made a ton.
Yeah.
Also, Materialist is 20 million. So support that movie because it's exactly what we're talking about. Those middle budget,
Yeah.
real movies. It only made 40 at the box office. It doubled, but still.
Yeah. I mean, you need to do better than double.
Yes.
Because of marketing.
shit is art.
Like,
shit is real.
Think of a Nora budget of like 6 million, and then they spent 18 million to get it an Oscar. Like, that's movie budgets.
yeah.
Okay.
So at that time, movies and TV shows didn't need to be scrutinized frame by frame for fear there was something in there that may reduce profits by 0.5%. And you know which 90s movies are symbolic of that old style of movie making? Unironically, the prequel trilogy of Star Wars.
Whoa,
Sure, Phantom Menace came out in 99 and Revenge of the Sith in 2005, but they still had the feeling and whimsy of the 90s. The prequel trilogy was unapologetical in its tone. It wasn't made by a committee. That's a Star Wars line. A committee. Nor sanded down because they thought a certain part of the audience may find it offensive. It was a trilogy of children's movies that was also commenting on the politics of the 90s and then early 2000s, and it deserves more praise from that. Phantom Menace, second favorite Star Wars, don't give a fuck. It was a...
After Andor?
Oh. Well, too soon
You
on
have
Andor.
to not give a fuck to put it above.
Too soon. I would not.
That's
I
not
do not
giving
put
a
it above.
fuck.
Yeah, I do not. But Andor's not
I
ranked
could
yet.
see an argument for it being third of the movies.
Andor's not ranked
Maybe.
yet. Too soon. Too soon. Gotta let the dust settle.
Second?
I love it.
Better than 4 and Empire?
I like A New Hope followed by Phantom Menace. followed
Better
by
than Empire?
I like it more. It's not better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That
I'm just- and especially now.
You're young.
And especially now, this I'm over the Skywalkers. So
Oh,
like
fuck the Skywalker.
all the baggage, like Empire now, I'm just like,
Yeah. If the word Skywalker is set
Yeah.
in another Star Wars movie, I'm walking out.
I'm just tired of it. Yeah. I like A New
I
Hope
wouldn't
because
really,
it's
but-
indie. I like Phantom Menace because it's jolly.
And it's about Vietnam.
And it's about pod racing.
A New Hope.
And it's zero praise for that. I also think there's some cynicism regarding the way movies are analyzed in this podcast sometimes that is not applied to movies of that time.
This podcast?
Two examples that come
We're
to mind
perfect.
are Alien Romulus, which I fucking love,
Movie's trash garbage.
and Nosferatu, which was fine. They were being basically criticized for being too similar to the old movies. I loved Romulus. I don't know.
I
what
will.
you're
I will
talking about.
agree. I will agree
I
with
would
this
say
comment. I had
Nosferatu-
problems with Alien Romulus's AI stuff, which I know Huber, you and I will disagree with, and that's okay.
Yeah,
But that was my only
family
holdback with Romulus. I
approves.
enjoyed it otherwise.
Ian Holm is
I
not
really
my
enjoyed it
family
otherwise.
member, so who am I to say?
Yeah,
I just thought that the quotes were stupid. Like quoting the movie that comes after it in the
It's
timeline
fun.
is stupid.
It's fun. They're in the theater.
Nosferatu?
They're in the
Yeah.
movie theater, and they're like, "This is for you and you."
And it made
you.
everyone mad. It made
And
me
It was fan servicey,
It was fan
but yeah,
service.
I had fun. There
Yeah.
were tense parts of it. Yeah,
If he
it
had
was,
said
it
get
was
away
cool.
from her,
It would
great,
have been better.
wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. The
Yeah.
character
Yeah.
that has heretofore not
liked-
sworn,
I would've
just
liked-
saying "get away from her, you bitch" for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Sorry.
And Nosferatu, I thought was okay, but I think it's one of those movies that will be better on a second viewing. I need to see it a second time, like I do.
Talk
But my
about
first-
lighting, though.
The
When
best
we're complaining
lighting,
about
incredible
lighting.
set design.
Nosferatu,
Yeah, and I didn't even
ah.
hate it. I didn't hate it, but just thought it was okay. They were basically criticized for being too similar to the old movies, but were never analyzed in the context of what if this is someone's first movie in that franchise, which I think was the intention for both movies. Franchise, though. I think
Maybe.
but I think if a movie is part of a collective whole, like it's a remake or a sequel or part of a franchise, it's gonna be analyzed differently and held to a little. I just hold it a little extra.
But also, like-
I'm critiquing a little harder for sure. It's a franchise movie. Like what?
But also, Alien Romulus, I think, starts incredibly and then just gets worse as it goes. Like I
the
think
first
that
half's
it,
the best.
yeah, I think that it just like isn't a strong movie in the second half, not as strong as it begins. And Nosferatu, I was disappointed that he didn't do something different with it.
Yeah.
Like I was hoping that he would, and like yeah, I know the story of Nosferatu and Dracula backwards and forwards, and like I was hoping he would do something like more subversive or like change it up more, which I guess is naive because that's not what this director usually does. I think Nosferatu is an incredible looking movie. The performances are great. I was just kind of like, I was left feeling like, okay.
I was chasing the Oppenheimer zeitgeist because
Sure.
it felt like it was going to be another one of those cultural moments where everyone, all the non-movie goers are like Nosferatu, and it's horror, so it's like naturally just big, but I just didn't get there.
Yeah.
I will say I like both of those movies a little more than either one of you. I wasn't head over heels for them, but in both of your defense, like they intentionally invite comparisons to
Yeah,
their older
of course.
versions because they do call outs to their older
So
versions
many.
all the time.
Constant.
So you can't do that without like, wanting
You
audiences
have
to
to
think
bring it
about the lineage that came before it.
Yeah. There's obviously exceptions when it's a direct sequel within a franchise, but you get the intention. Anyway, Killer of Killers was amazing. Are we in a Predator and Alien renaissance? Also, who's excited for Superman and F4? They look sick. Love and respect. Excited for both of those. Killer of Killers was an
F4?
easy 10 out of 10. Fantastic Four.
Oh,
Thanks for the write-in. Yeah, really appreciate
Yeah.
it. It's always good to hear. Yeah,
And,
Superman. I'm
I like
not
things to be
interested
light,
in.
even if we are cynical.
Yeah. Call us out for sure. Yeah, Superman.
Superman looks.
Superman.
I don't know.
I'm cautiously optimistic for sure.
Yeah.
I loved Guardians 3. That was his last movie.
Yeah.
I love Superman 2. It has
think you
Superman
can do
2 vibes.
I'm also just like, I've heard some things like James Gunn feels very like My Way or the Highway, and I feel like that's a house of cards that could kind of tumble in a bad way.
Creature Commandos was sick.
Yeah, I like Creature Commandos. Who knows?
Optimistic.
But, yeah,
Cautious.
I think that it probably won't save the DC cinematic universe the way that they are expecting, but who knows?
Do we think
Fantastic
it'll make
Four
a
might
bill?
be all right. Superman?
Yeah.
I mean,
One bill.
It seems like they kind of do just anyway.
Because like Mission Impossible didn't.
No. But yeah,
A lot of
Superman
Superman
is
movies
it's such a weird thing because like the reactions to the trailers have not been super positive, I feel like, that I've heard. And like I do wonder if people care anymore.
I know. We
So,
are
like,
in
Superman
fatigue
could-
mode.
Superman, like I wouldn't be super shocked if it just hits a bill because they do, but I also wouldn't be super surprised if it like tanks.
Yeah. Crazy. We are in a Predator and Alien renaissance.
Watched Predator 1 with Sophia just the other day. She'd never seen it.
Some offensive jokes.
Yeah.
Some offensive quoting in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
It is a little rough.
It's,
Oh my god.
Jesse
Predator
Ventura.
2 is rough.
Yep.
It's also entertaining
Predator
as
2 I
fuck,
haven't
but
seen
yeah,
in a while, but yeah, goddamn.
Love it.
Prey though, Prey like
Prey's
rights
great.
some wrongs. Yeah, Prey
love
is just
Prey.
top shelf.
I kind of wish that they had just actually spoken
Yeah.
the language the whole time. But Colt Smith says, so many excellent movies from this time period. True Lies, Willow, Tombstone, Terminator 2, The Matrix, Princess Bride. Fucking Christ, Princess Bride, dude. Among so many others, really made my childhood what it was. There was a real sense of wild freedom where anything was open to exist and unlimited creativity was the name of the game. Then there was the more underground scenes of the 90s in the martial arts movie Explosion, which I don't think could have existed in any other time, and the weirdness of the 90s horror where it seems hit or miss, good idea or bad, stuff just got the green light and we were the richer for it. At the time, my brother and I had a membership to both Hollywood Video and Blockbuster, and neither of the ones near us cared what we rented, so we went wild. Yeah, I rented so many gnarly movies when I was like 12.
I worked at both.
14. Yeah, I worked in a movie theater when I was a little older, so we watched anything and everything, discovered anime, definitely watched things we really shouldn't have, but this specific time in my life had such a vibe and such a different feel. Absolutely. It's also like I was watching Red Letter Media talk about Back to the Future, and like thinking about that or Princess Bride, and like I've read all the behind the scenes stuff about Princess Bride. Carrie Elwes's book, As You Wish, or whatever it's called, is really good. Even Willow, which is like, you know, hasn't had the lasting legacy of all of these movies, but like I really loved as a kid. There was just an attention to detail in like the scripting phase, in the filmmaking phase, like little tiny details that you notice on your like 30th viewing that I just don't know if movies have anymore. Like there's a care and an attention to some of these, like obviously like the best ones, like the Alzheimer's, but like, damn.
The subtlety.
Yeah. Like just the sets. They talked about this in the Red Letter Media thing, but like the way the sets change over the time periods in Back to the Future, stuff I had never even noticed. Like in 85, town is all like kind of grungy, you know, even the non-Biff version, right?
Yeah.
But like that I've noticed. But like the movie theater in the background has become a porno theater. And I'd never noticed that.
Crazy.
It's like, oh shit. That's interesting. Yeah. Mike Carway. You wanna
I
read that?
always wondered, is this a
it Kar-wai or
combination of
Kar-wai?
Takashi Miike and Wong Kar-wai?
Oh,
like
yeah,
I wondered,
that's
like if it's like a
probably-
mashup. Yeah,
That's
they'll have,
probably it.
they'll have to let us know.
Miike
Yeah,
Kar-wai would make sense.
There are obviously some seismic things that have made the world objectively worse over time, like climate change. But as a
Yeah.
fan of having new ways of forging my own path and more easily finding like-minded people, as well as transcending language barriers, the pros of things like media fragmentation and global visibility and connectivity are mostly worth it to me.
Yeah.
They outweigh the cons of potential trade-offs some may find, like mass entertainment feeling more culturally ephemeral, or the McDonald's across the road may be having some gray brutalist vibes. I know it's not exactly that simple, and there's a lot more that could be discussed on this topic, though. I don't know if I can narrow it down to one choice of good old times film for myself, as I found when I revisit a lot of the major ones I grew up with, other than, say, Lord of the Rings, I tend to become disillusioned about their quality rather than flooded with welcome emotions about where I might have been or what I might have felt at the time. With The Matrix, I still like it, but would say at this point in my life, when I put it on and see the same fight choreographer's distinct style on display, I'm more reminded of how much Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is the film that resonates with me, and Fist of Legend, me significantly more now, even though I only first saw that one in the last 6 or 7 years. Yeah, dude. Fuck. Fist of Legend. Do it. Crouching Tiger. For anything else, I rewatched Return to Seoul recently, which is now confirmed one of
Yes.
my top
Yeah.
favorites of the 2020s. It's an
Yeah.
underseen movie that leaves some people cold for sure, especially with its unlikable and intentionally difficult to grasp main character. But it's one of those special experiences where every negative criticism I've come across seems to beautifully reaffirm what works for me.
Oh, what's
it is-
not to like about that main character? Hero.
also has all the techno post-punk vibes that you would want, and a jacket so cool that it rivals the best cinematic efforts of
Oh yeah,
Ryan
I love
Gosling.
this.
Yeah.
I love this
Love and
film.
respect.
Return to Seoul. I was just like so eager to see it. It took a while for me to be able to track it down before it was distributed in America. I'm so glad someone mentioned this. It's been on my mind a lot this week, actually.
Hell yeah.
I gotta see it.
Yeah,
I
I think it's just like a French Korean woman who was adopted, and then eventually like tries to get in touch with her real father, and just like kind of has questions about what it means for her, and kind of travels around the world and time skips through her life, and you're like, oh, she's doing this now, which is one of those things where it's like plot shifts where you're like, oh, this movie is going this direction now, which I always love. I've probably
Yeah.
discussed that about other movies on this episode. That's my jam. I love movies like that.
Yeah.
And it is heavily relatable for me. I just the main character, maybe you just have to be this kind of person to like her. But I was like, it's me. I'm represented. It's me
I love
on
good
screen.
jackets, so I
Yeah,
wanna see
yeah. Thank you for mentioning Return to Seoul. It's one of those like if you're her, then you're in the club. The emotional club. So you feel seen. You are seen.
To the first half of your post, it is interesting. It's made me think about like my personal experience of this time period was very poor. Like I emotionally, like I was very depressed from 13 to like 26, and like so like my personal emotional life during this period was not good. It was not the good old times. Like right now, emotionally, physically is like my best. Living my best life, and it's so funny because I hadn't really interrogated that. It's like this to me is such an external question, where it's like, I mean, yeah, I think it's mostly nostalgia, but for these movies, but yeah, just like, do they make a Princess Bride anymore? Do they make a fucking
They tried to with Millie Bobby Brown.
that dragon one?
Yeah. Just like a whimsy dragon.
Yeah. That movie wasn't terrible. Wasn't very good, but Damsel.
Damsel.
Willie Diaz, aside from nostalgia since it came out when I was 8, The Matrix holds a lot of that vibe for me between the outfits, music, the old computers, the CRT screens, and floppy disks, etc.
I want to watch
Even
The
the use
Matrix
of phone booths as a major part of the plot.
every day.
The Matrix is great.
Every day.
I love floppy disks. I was telling this to somebody the other day that I I have distinct memories of running around in my yard with a floppy disk because of Mission Impossible, playing that it was a knock list. Like I put a little list in a text file on the disc, and then my friends and I ran around trying to like get the disc from each other.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
That's funny.
We got to get the knock list. We didn't even know what it meant. Like, so funny. Last one, Beto's Burrito. As a kid of the 90s, I felt like... I'll do this one because those two were shorter.
Great.
I felt like since TVs were smaller, low def, and mostly 4:3, media felt more intimate. The relationship with media was also a lot more tactile, rewinding VHS tapes, swapping movies with friends, physical buttons. Also, my unhinged take is that pre-Y2K je ne sais quoi was sweat, dirt, and body hair. Movies felt hotter, literally, and lived in. Yeah, true. The lights were hotter. There weren't LED lights yet. When was the last time we had a sweaty action hero? Yeah, fully.
It's funny.
The medium is the message. You're like touching it, and there's less of it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, there is something to be said for like the ethereal nature of media now, where it's like I've recently gotten back into vinyls and like cassette tapes and stuff like that. And like there is something to be said for a physical mechanism. I got jump scared by the tape ending while I was writing a horror story the other day. The little button going, I was like, and I was like, oh, right, it's that. That just doesn't happen anymore.
No.
The sound of a VHS tape rewinding.
Like, we'll always just be called nostalgic boomers. It's really sad.
We're millennials.
But it's like...
Don't lump us in with those fuckers.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like boomer is just the term now for just like some old fucker, some old bitter fucker. And it's like... No, like... Blockbuster was an absolute good.
Going into
a video rental store is one of the absolute...
Video stores were an absolute good. I don't know if Blockbuster, sure, video store.
Video rental stores.
Shout out to Video Vault.
I lived in, like not a rural spot, so I just had like the fucking commercial, like Hollywood Video Blockbuster. Yeah. I did have the Warehouse. That was my like local one.
Yeah.
But...
They had a curtain.
Yeah.
Where all the porn was behind the curtain.
Always. Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Sneak in there with my brother, like, look at that. Yeah. But yeah, like, I'm always going to miss that, and I'm never going to feel shame for missing that and wanting that.
Nor should you.
Yeah, for real. Like,
emotions are just chemicals. Don't feel ashamed.
Just gave so much more value to media to me. Like, I will always argue that. It made it so much more meaningful. Going in, picking the one, taking it out, watching it, versus like cycling through 1,000 things, pushing a button, like leaving the room when it's on, coming. It's just all so.
There was a portion.
Digital. It doesn't feel real.
I wasn't even looking at my phone or anything because I don't generally do that while I'm watching stuff.
Mm-hmm. The only time I'll do that is if I'm watching like a documentary.
Sure.
Sometimes I'll look shit up and stuff.
While I was watching Fountain of Youth last night, there was seriously a moment, and this like doesn't really happen to me. There was a moment where I forgot I was watching it while I was watching it. And I was like,
holy shit.
So I like came back.
The movie jump scared you.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Once that pretty lady came back on the screen, I was like, oh, right. I'm watching a movie. Anyway.
Fun.
I don't know. This was a weird episode.
Fun one.
We'll talk about, I don't know, boobs or something next month. Just even it out.
Watch Fist of
Let's
Legend.
do it. Let's do it.
It's your boobs.
Boob movies?
Why not? I think we'll
already
make
done
it classy.
erotica.
Strip tease, dude. I mean, those were some of the
Total
first
Recall?
boobs I've ever seen, for sure.
Oh, really?
Strip tease, definitely. And Wild Things, of course, is
Wild
the iconic.
Things, Wild Things, Species.
I mean, it's Species and Wild Things, both
Justice
in a pool,
for
right?
Sale.
Species was in a pool.
Oh, yeah.
Wild
lot
Things
of pool
was in a
sex
pool.
in the 90s.
Total
Yeah.
Recall.
Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Trips boobs.
The
True
lady that
Lies.
gets grabbed in Die Hard 1 in the side room. She gets like taken out.
This should be a Patreon
Trading
tier.
Places. Oh my God! What if we had
Reaction
just like
shots after dark. Yeah.
action shots after dark? We'll have a $4 tier where we talk about smut. Oh my god! And then a $12 tier where we talk about the movie 8mm.
The boob episode, but like
Ooh.
to what end?
To
what
what
are we
end?
talking?
To
Just
what
like
end?
what is even in
I think
there?
it justifies itself, doesn't it?
Well, as 3 boob enjoyers, I think it would be a pretty positive episode. I was trying to think of what's the opposite of late stage capitalism. Boobs.
I think we ended on a up note. That was good.
Definitely. Mall rats,
We ended on a perky note.
some boobs in there, some funny ones.
Airplane. There was like that weird portion of the early 90s where a PG movie could have boobs in it if it wasn't
Yeah,
sexual.
parents would always be like,
Yeah, like Radioland Murders, Airplane, PG movies that just there's some boobs in them. What the hell? What is this life? Who are any of us? All right.
that's why movies in the 80s were better, kids.
Kids don't know what they're missing anymore. VHS and titties. Anyway,
been craving The
patreon.com. The Brood.
I've been craving it.
Yeah. The Blob. Shout out to The Blob. You know what we should do is B movies. We've done an episode about B movies, but we should do an episode about B movies where all the movies have to start with the letter B. And the B movie's not allowed. The Jerry Seinfeld one.
The disqualifies.
He's
you.
not allowed. He's not allowed.
Yeah, no
currently.
the.
No, the it has to
Has
start
to
with
start
B.
with literally
Beethoven.
B. Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Beethoven.
Babe.
No, The Big Lebowski. Not allowed. Babe 2, Pig in the City. Mm-hmm. No,
That's
the
hard.
No, The Blob.
That's hard.
No, The Burbs.
No.
Maybe we have to allow the.
No, the.
Okay.
Hard B.
Hard.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Big Trouble in Little China. Hard B.
Hard
is the
B.
name of that episode. This show's gonna get real theoretical from here on out. We're beyond we're through the looking glass here,
Yep.
people. Basically, we've all gone insane.
Get us out of here.
All right, patreon.com/reaction shots. We will see you again next month. There will be. I'm traveling
Bill and
for
Ted's.
most. Bill and Ted. I'm traveling for most of July due to funerals and TennoCon.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. And then first part of August,
Birdcage.
I'll be
No,
ar-
the Birdcage.
That's the Birdcage.
Oh, but it doesn't count.
First
Hard
part of
B.
August, middle of August, I'll be out. So like, we'll have to sneak one in there at the end of July, which is where we should be doing these anyway. Oh God! All right, patreon.com/reaction shots. We'll see you in a month. Join the thing for the Discord. It's wonderful. Everybody's wonderful. $3. Thank you, Matt Walden.
Thank you both. Thank you for the write-ins. Good ones.
Good ones.
Yeah, good stuff.
Really
Crazy
good ones.
stuff. Real theoretical stuff.
Yeah. Feeling existential.
Matt, Michael Huber. All right.
I'm watching Independence Day tonight. You should do the
Independence Day
same, y'all.
tonight.
Yeah. Sandlot, Independence Day, Born on the 4th of July, just to name a few.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.